Before diving into this incredible story, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, every story has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. It was a day like any other in the city's central district. But for Marie, a disabled black woman, nothing was going to be like any other. Her legs, weakened by a rare disease, required the use of a wheelchair, but her determination and dignity remained intact. As she drove slowly toward the exit of a parking lot, a police patrol approached. The officers, visibly impatient and driven by prejudice, began insulting her, ordering her to move her wheelchair, and treating her with humiliating contempt. Shocked passers-by didn't know how to intervene. Marie remained calm, despite the humiliation. But everything changed when one of the police officers, brimming with confidence, asked for her identification. Upon hearing her name, he and his colleague exchanged a look of astonishment. Marie was no ordinary citizen, she was the daughter of the head of internal affairs for the police, the very woman whose job it was to oversee the actions of those same officers. In an instant, the power dynamic shifted. The police officers who had just humiliated her found themselves on their knees, gripped by fear and shame, realizing they had just treated their superior officer's daughter with unjustified contempt. The crowd around them held its breath, witnessing a scene of instant justice. Marie, with dignity and calm, made them understand that true power does not reside in the authority of force, but in respect and recognition of the humanity of each individual. The midday sun bathed the parking lot in a brilliant light, but nothing could brighten the mood of the police officers that day. Marie, seated in her electric wheelchair, moved slowly between the cars, a file under her arm. Each movement required effort, but her determination was palpable. Two young, nervous officers noticed her immediately. One of them, visibly irritated, approached and declared, "You can't stay here, get out." Marie looked up calmly. "I'm not blocking anyone's way. I'm on the pedestrian crossing." But the police officers ignored her words. They jostled her slightly, causing her chair to wobble a little. The tension quickly escalated, and insults flew. "Come on, hurry up. Do you think you're above the law?" Passers-by watched in shock, but none moved. Marie, though hurt and humiliated, remained calm. She knew that giving in to anger would only reinforce their contempt. Then one of the policemen, more haughty, asked, "Show me your ID." Marie took out her wallet and handed over her card. The policeman frowned as he read her name. He read it aloud, incredulous. "Marie Johnson?" His colleague moved closer, confused. "Wait. Johnson? Like, the head of internal affairs?" A heavy silence fell over the parking lot. The two police officers instantly turned pale. The woman they had just humiliated, the one they had pushed and belittled, was the daughter of the person directly responsible for their own careers. Marie, still calm, looked them straight in the eyes. "Now you know why it's important to respect every person, regardless of their appearance or abilities." The police officers were speechless. The crowd, witnessing the scene, held its breath, while the humiliation turned against those who had believed they could impose their power through fear. Marie smiled slightly, continued on her way, and left behind a lesson in dignity and justice that would forever mark these men and all those who had observed the scene. After the incident in the parking lot, the two police officers found themselves in their office, their faces ashen. A heavy silence hung between them. Each knew they had just crossed a line that no excuse could easily erase. We can't let this go," stammered one of them. "I know, but how do I fix it?" replied the other, his voice trembling. They decided to inform their superior, hoping that Marie's family legacy might mitigate the situation. But when they arrived at the office of the head of internal affairs, they immediately understood that the situation was far beyond what they had imagined. The chief, a man respected for his rigor and impartiality, greeted them calmly. He had already heard the story from the other witnesses. Without shouting, without threatening, he told them, "You humiliated my daughter in public. You not only disrespected her, but also your own badge and the honor of this institution." The police officers lowered their heads, helpless. Every word from the chief was a stark reminder that their actions had serious repercussions. But the surprise was complete when he added, "However, I believe in responsibility and learning. You will meet my daughter tomorrow, and she will explain to you the real impact of your actions." The next day, Marie arrived at the police station, still dignified, still calm. She wasn't there for revenge. She wanted these men to understand. "You humiliated me," she began, her voice firm but calm. "But it's not just me you hurt. You showed everyone what never to do." The police officers, ashamed, then understood that their arrogance and prejudices could no longer be excused. The encounter was a lesson in humility. Marie, with patience and intelligence, transformed their fear into a profound understanding of their mistakes. At the end of the day, the two men left the office not physically punished, but profoundly changed. They knew they could never look at people the same way again, and that every action in uniform now carried an immense responsibility. Marie, for her part, left with the satisfaction of having changed lives, not by force, but by her dignity, her patience and her truth. The days following the incident were a silent nightmare for the two police officers. Every corridor of the station seemed to be watching them, every colleague whispering as they passed. News of their humiliation had spread quickly, and their reputation was now tarnished. But this was only the beginning. The head of internal affairs, while remaining professional, took action. Rigorous investigations into their files were launched, revealing several incidents where their biases had influenced their work. Administrative sanctions followed, official warnings, reassignments, and increased monitoring of their activities. Marie, for her part, continued her life serenely. Every time she passed near the police station or met witnesses to the incident, she received admiring glances and silent thanks. Her dignity had transformed a humiliation into an example of justice and moral strength. One morning, one of the police officers tried to approach Marie discreetly, attempting to apologize sincerely. But she looked at him calmly and said, "Apologies are not enough to erase what you have done. Learn, change, and never let your arrogance dictate your actions." This simple yet powerful message was the true culmination of karma. It wasn't just about punishment, but about transformation. The police officers understood that they had not only lost the respect of their colleague and the community, but that they had been confronted with the strength of a woman who never let her disability or her skin color define her worth. In the end, Marie became a discreet but powerful symbol in the city, that of personal justice, dignity, and moral responsibility. The police officers, for their part, had to live every day with the weight of their arrogance and the awareness that a single person had been enough to change their lives. A few weeks later, the entire city was talking about the incident. Videos and testimonies from the parking lot circulated on social media, showing not only the humiliation Marie suffered, but also her calm and dignified reaction. The humiliated police officers became symbols of unacceptable behavior, while Marie became a model of courage and respect. At the police station, the disciplinary measures continued. The two officers were forced to undergo mandatory training on prejudice and social justice, under the watchful eye of the head of internal affairs. Their once promising careers had been deeply tarnished. Every decision they made was now scrutinized, and they understood that they could never again act with arrogance or contempt. But Mary was not motivated by revenge. She made a public appearance, not to further humiliate these men, but to share her experience and send a message to the entire community. No matter your disability, your skin color, or your situation, never let anyone put you down. Dignity and respect are more powerful than fear and the misuse of authority. Her words echoed throughout the city. The inhabitants watched her with admiration, inspired by her strength and wisdom. Even those who had doubted her ability to defend herself were impressed by her composure and patience. The police officers, for their part, learned a lesson they would never forget. Their arrogance and prejudices had been punished not by force, but by Marie's truth and courage. Their careers would continue, but with humility and conscience, for they now knew that every action had consequences, and that true power came not from the badge they wore, but from the respect they showed others. Marie, ever dignified, returned to her life, having transformed humiliation into a moral victory, and leaving behind a timeless lesson: dignity, patience, and truth are the most powerful weapons against injustice.